website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Another question. Actually, it's the same question, and I'm going to keep talking about this with regular intervals because this is the focus that you need to have. This is the thing you need to understand, and this is what keeps people back, a lack of understanding of this principle. Because I heard from a guy who's been practicing, a year or two, and, the practice routine, the chords, the scales, but the more he learns, the more he realizes he has to learn. So it's like you walk down the aisle, and then as you go down, you see new doors opening up. There's a melodic minor too. Oh, you can play chords like up this without no bars, and it's huge. And you look at this vast field and say, okay, I've been practicing, a little bit of chords, a little bit of scales, a little bit of technique every single day, over and over again to cover, most skills that I need to have in order to play guitar. And I've been doing that for a year. And if I have to learn all that stuff out there, it's going to take me, you can't do that, then 300 years to master all that. So I hope I become very, very old. And it simply doesn't make sense. And the next, conclusion in your brain is, okay, those people who actually got to that in 2 or 3 years, they must be like talents beyond belief, right? I've been talking about this before, but it's essential that we understand it, that it's impossible with the normal, regular way of looking at things. The secret to getting there is understanding that mastery is the only way. You will never get to any level of excellence on this instrument if you don't use that principle. And every single one who got to the point where we think, how can he both master alternate picking, sweep picking, all these things on that level and still, understand chords and play jazz and 7 different chords in a bar that whips by and he knows what notes to play? It's impossible. No, it's not. Because what he did was obsess about one thing at a time. And that's what's mastery called. Most people, they stop at, first of all, they stop at mediocre, they stop at good. And then when they get nervous, they can't play, they lose all their skills because it's not automatic. You must build automated patterns in your brain and body that you can do whatever happens around you. And secondly, you must focus on one thing at a time. And that's all you can do, Claus. The brain simply does not have the capacity to focus on 2 things at one time. It goes back and forth. There's no multitasking. It's one thing at a time. But when you do, 7 things in a day or 7 things in a week even, then there's no focus. And the brain just goes blur, a little of that, blur, that ideal practice routine that, contains a little of everything that, I hate that because it's radically ineffective. It's total BS that is the way to get to the highest level. The only way to get to the highest level is to take that routine and stretch it out. So instead of using 10 minutes or 1 hour or 15 minutes or 2 minutes on focusing on chords, you use a freaking month. You go 4 weeks where you practice chords with a metronome. And not only that, you take 2 chords instead of 7. Right? And you practice them to the point of total magical, top-level, world-class ability. Because anyone can do that. If you have the capability of taking just one little thing and bringing it up to world-class level, then you can take anything to that level. But most people, like 99.999% of all people, when they practice anything, they just go to, I can do it now. I can play 7 chords. Of course, I have to take a little break in between, and sometimes I don't get the C major right, but I can do it, right? That's not good enough. You have to take 2 chords and just hammer away at it so you can go. Right? And play it on your neck and upside down. That's what you want to get to, and that's the secret to learning that vast field of skills. It seems counterintuitive, but once you have those 2 chords down at the level of can't go any further, right? With the human body, the capability, you maxed out on your physical level. Once you've taken those 2 chords to that level, then taking the next 2 chords will be a little easier, a little faster, and then a lot faster. The next 2 chords are a lot faster. And suddenly you just push through all that vast field of skills you must learn. It's just like, right? But it takes a while, and it's like you practice, and it seems like nothing's happening. And that's why most people fall off the truck and go back to mediocre, right? Go back to learning 8 chords at a time, because then I can play the song, but I have to look at it when I'm, okay, what's the D here? Yes, and then, right? But because it takes an enormous amount of trusting this principle, or just tenacity, just stubbornness, or just, I'm going to die trying, right? Whatever it is that brings you through that phase. And it takes about, 24 months. And I have another video that talks about that, the 24 months to total mastery, or whatever it is, top skills, on YouTube. But you can see the comments underneath that video that people say, okay, I did the thing, Claus. Okay, I took that little boring thing and I obsessed about it for a month. And I said, okay, let's do it. It's, what an idiotic idea. And I focused on it. Just that the willingness to test out a principle like this, right? I respect that, really. And then I got the results. People come out on the other side and say, oh, this works. Oh, this is the way, right? Push all the way to mastery right away with one little tiny thing. But when that happens, then suddenly it's like watching the grass grow. You have that exponential growth, right? You just churn away at it every single day. With focus, one little thing each week. You make new decisions and you focus and you try to become better at practicing. You do TV practice, you do metronome practice, and you push, and you measure your results. You shoot, little videos with your phone that, 1 week and then the next week, and you can actually see your improvement. Use the principles to get you going there. And then after 12 months, you can say, hey, I'm just unrealistically better than before. And then 24 months, and then suddenly you can say, oh, that's how to do it. And it's counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense, but that's how the brain works. You must put in that. And there's a lot of principles you can use to get you there faster that I talk about in these videos on YouTube and in my programs. But so that's really the answer here. That do not, and I had another question from a guy who's, in the beginner, advanced beginner, and he's like, I practice songs and I know them, and then, a couple of weeks go by, I go back to my guitar, I can't remember the freaking songs, right? Or people ask me, oh, you play guitar? Then play something, and I can't remember, what was it again? And that's a surefire sign that you're not focused on mastery. Mastery means learning that song so you can play it in your sleep. So you can remember it 10 years from now. It's like riding a bike. Take one song and sing it so well. Learn all the little details and keep obsessing about that one. You can learn other things as well, but you spend 50% of your song practicing time on playing just that one song. And then you break that even further down and take 2 chords from that song, back and forth, thousands of repetitions, right? Then you move on, do the next thing. And then once you learn the whole song and you are more than good at it, you start creating... Right? Instead of going... Right? Then you start adding little details. You keep focusing on that song. And I promise you, when you can play that song as good as anyone in the world with this feeling, because it's all automatic, so you can really focus on the playing of it and everything, right? Once you have that song at the highest level, then you've broken open the whole surface of learning songs. It's like an explosion. Because now, and you have a pattern in your brain carved out for how to reach mastery. And you have total confidence that you can do anything. Because if you could take one song all the way to mastery, instead of staying at that mediocre level or beginner level, then you can take anything to mastery. Sorry to be so intense about this, but we need to shout this out. Because it enables anyone to get those magical skills if we will just focus. And then, do a search on my channel on YouTube, find other videos about mastery or how to build skills and then watch them over and over and over again, right? Thousands of repetitions until you get this idea so firmly established and ingrained in your brain. So when you go, oh, it takes too long, or you catch yourself being allured by one of these blog post or videos that tells you to practice 15 things at one time each day and have an optimal practice routine where you do a little of everything, then you will wake up from that and say, okay, I know this is true, I know this is the way, right? And then you start practicing one thing at a time, hammering away at it. Every time I see somebody master anything, that's how they do it. Just endless repetitions of one thing, and then just to break open the barriers to mastery. Few people do this, but you can. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.